For decades, Voyager 2 sailed silently through the vast emptiness of space, like a phantom vessel adrift among the stars. Forgotten by most, it became more a symbol of past scientific ambition than an active mission. Its presence was a relic, from a time when space exploration was driven more by curiosity than expectation. But everything changed when it passed beyond the known edge of our solar system. Suddenly, it wasn't just returning data on particles and radiation, it was transmitting something else, a signal. It was faint, deliberate, and far too precise to be random. And then, as abruptly as it had begun, the signal stopped. What Voyager 2 encountered beyond the solar system wasn't just a shift in magnetic fields or a gradual change in radiation. It was a sudden, sharp boundary, an unnatural threshold. It was as if the spacecraft had stepped through a cosmic gate, one that didn't just mark a physical distance, but something deeper, something intelligent. The implication was terrifying. The universe might not be as empty as we thought. It may be structured, intentional. And Voyager 2 had just left the relative safety of our stellar neighborhood. Originally, Voyager 2 was never intended to last beyond 5 years, but it endured for 47. Through intense radiation, clouds of dust, and the deep cold of interplanetary space, it continued its journey. Then, in 2023, it transmitted data unlike anything it had before. Just after crossing the heliopause, the theoretical edge of the Sun's influence, the probe recorded a sudden and dramatic jump in plasma density and radiation levels. This wasn't a slow transition. It was abrupt, as if Voyager had moved from one enclosed space directly into another. Along with that sudden shift came a strange burst, a low-frequency signal repeating in a rhythm. It wasn't random, nor was it natural. It was structured. It behaved like a pattern, almost like a greeting or a warning. NASA engineers weren't just surprised, they were visibly unsettled. For the first time in decades, Voyager 2 had gone from being a passive explorer to the center of something no one could fully explain. Science textbooks had long described the outer boundary of the solar system, the heliopause, as a blurry zone, where the solar wind gradually fades into the interstellar medium. But Voyager's new data contradicted that completely. Instead of a gentle fade, it reported a sudden spike in particle energy and temperature. One moment, it was protected by the Sun's magnetic shield. The next, it was bombarded by interstellar radiation, up to 70% more intense than before. There was no gradual shift. It was a sudden snap, like crossing an invisible, precise line. Then came something even more unexpected. Voyager's magnetometers recorded a near-perfect alignment between the Sun's magnetic field and the one existing just beyond it. Scientists had anticipated chaos, clashing forces, turbulence, disorder. Instead, what they found was harmony, structure. It didn't feel random. It felt engineered. But the most disturbing discovery wasn't in the radiation data. It was in the transmission signal itself. While reviewing old telemetry records, researchers noticed something unusual. Hidden within Voyager 2's carrier wave was a modulation that pulsed outside the expected range. Initially dismissed as interference, it began to show a pattern over time. The frequency was repeating with mathematical precision, intervals that curiously mirrored the famous Arecibo message humanity had sent into deep space back in 1974. It wasn't a copy of that message, but something that echoed its structure. And it began shortly after Voyager passed the heliopause. The timing was too perfect to ignore. This led to a chilling idea. What if, the moment Voyager left the Sun's protective bubble, it was scanned? Some scientists proposed that the signal might not have been a message at all, but a trigger, an automated response from something monitoring the boundary. A system designed not to respond, but to detect. What Voyager 2 encountered may not have been a wall. It might have been a membrane, a living boundary that shifts and reacts. The location of the heliopause isn't fixed. It expands and contracts, depending on solar activity, cosmic pressure, and possibly even intrusions. Voyager 1 encountered this boundary at 119 astronomical units. Voyager 2 at just 121 recorded drastically different conditions. That inconsistency might not be random, it might be intentional. If this edge behaves like an intelligent filter, then Voyager 2 didn't just step into interstellar space, it stepped into awareness. And that realization changes everything. What if the edge of our solar system is being monitored, not by spacecraft or life forms, but by fields or systems that observe and record when a civilization becomes capable of leaving its star? What happens when that line is crossed? While the public remained mostly unaware, space agencies around the world responded quietly but urgently. Press briefings were postponed. Scientists working on the Voyager mission were reassigned without explanation. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, direct communication with the media was suddenly restricted. Something had shifted, not just in the data, but in the atmosphere. Leaked internal memos revealed that a portion of the signal had been classified by the Department of Defense. Voyager 2 had become more than a scientific instrument. It was now a matter of national security. Why the secrecy? Because the frequency Voyager transmitted shared similarities with another unexplained event. An anomalous signal picked up by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter back in 2003. That event, once dismissed and buried, now seemed to fit a larger pattern. For the first time, Voyager 2's data stream was encrypted. This wasn't about protecting information. It was about containing fear. As independent researchers dug into the raw data, often anonymously in online forums, a new theory emerged. They called it the mirror theory. According to this concept, the signal Voyager received wasn't a message or even a reply. It was a reflection, a passive response from a field that echoes the identity of anything that touches it, not in sound or words, but in structure and logic. Voyager's signal, especially the portions resembling the Arecibo message, may not have been generated by an intelligence, but by a system designed to detect intelligence, a system that reflects, a mirror. And if that's true, the most unsettling part isn't what came back, but what didn't. Because a mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't change what it sees. It simply reveals. And maybe what it revealed in us was too familiar. Beyond the heliopause lies the unknown, interstellar space. But what if it isn't just space? A team of astrophysicists using advanced AI pattern recognition software mapped Voyager 2's trajectory against ancient celestial alignments. They found something shocking. The point where Voyager exited the solar system aligns with several sources of fast radio bursts, strange high-energy signals of unknown origin. These bursts, long considered cosmic mysteries, now appeared to be more than anomalies. What if they're beacons, not signals sent to us, but signals that detect? There's Voyager 2 may not have just drifted into deep space. It may have entered a monitored corridor, one that listens, one that doesn't respond, until something activates it, which raises a final haunting question. Did Voyager trigger something? Or did something finally wake up? The most chilling theory of all isn't about radiation or structure, but perception. Some quantum theorists suggest that Voyager 2 didn't just cross a physical boundary, it crossed a cognitive one. A threshold in awareness, a layer of the universe that only civilizations capable of higher-order thought are allowed to perceive. Cross it too soon, and you trigger a safeguard. The low hum in Voyager's data, the alignment of magnetic fields, the repeating pulse patterns, they may all be part of an ancient system. A filter not to destroy, but to evaluate, to decide. Voyager 2 wasn't just a spacecraft, it was a key. And now that key has turned. Something is listening. For nearly 50 years we saw Voyager 2 as a peaceful messenger, a capsule of humanity floating into the unknown. We never imagined that something had already been listening. The strange signal wasn't noise. The sudden shift in radiation wasn't a coincidence. And the silence that followed wasn't peace, it was deliberation. Voyager didn't simply cross a border measured in distance. It stepped through a veil of understanding, an invisible threshold we weren't supposed to breach yet. And the moment we did, something on the other side blinked. It didn't speak, it reflected. And in that structured pulse, we saw not approval but recognition. A recognition that confirmed our deepest suspicion. We were never alone. We were simply not ready to be found. Now Voyager 2 continues its journey into the dark, watched by something we don't understand. Not a creature, not a ship, but a presence. Silent, calculating, and perhaps unimaginably old. And the only question left is, what happens now that it knows we're here?